Welcome back to another episode of Parenting in Progress. I'm Corey.
I'm Jordan.
And we're the Welches. Welcome back to another episode. We've had quite a fun weekend, Jordan. The first thing we're going to talk about is Carly's biggest milestone that she achieved this weekend, which was a night without mom and dad.
I know. She crushed it.
She did. She did very well. So just to give a quick background story, I had a work Christmas party that was about an hour and a half away. We ended up getting a hotel room at it. So this was the first night away from Carly, and we ended up taking her over to my parents who watched her. She did really good. When we left yesterday, we had a plan. We didn't want to go over there and have to get Carly settled down for an afternoon nap right away, because our party wasn't until like 5:30, but we wanted to go early because Jordan and I wanted to hit up a couple stores. We had a couple things we wanted to do, so we were going to leave a little earlier. But kind of how that played out, math-wise with all the timing was, okay, we'd drop her off there, she needed a nap, and then away we'd go.
And we knew that when we got there, she wasn't going to want to just go lay down and take a nap. We knew that she would be excited to be there. She'd want to play for a little bit. So if we got there a little bit earlier, we can get that playing out, get a lunch in her, and then we can go, and it'd be about time for her to take a nap.
And so that's what we did. We ended up leaving about a little before 11. Got over to the parents. They ended up making us a little bit of lunch because we decided, heck, we'll eat over there. Why not? That way we don't have to get something, because by the time we would have made it to the big town would have been probably about 2:00. So anyway, we did our shopping, got to the hotel, went to the Christmas party, got done with dinner at the Christmas party, and we decided, heck, we need to FaceTime her. Let's FaceTime her before she goes to bed. It was a good little dead spot there because we were getting ready to leave to go to another place and have some more fun, kind of an after party deal. So we decided, heck, we're gonna give her a call. And so we FaceTimed him, spent about 10 minutes on the phone asking Carly, what she ate, and she's got to go night-night at Grandma and Grandpa's, and she's excited. She sounded excited on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good kind of reassurance for Jordan. I wasn't super worried about her at night. She does pretty well sleeping. Both of us have been away from her at night. Not a boatload of days, but we've both had a handful of days that we've not been around. So it wasn't like it was super out of the ordinary. If it was first time away from Carly ever, probably would have been a little bit bigger story, but we kind of already had that initial shock, guilt feeling of, oh no, I'm not there. What is going to happen?
Yeah, and it was definitely easier for me this time because about a month ago, I left her for 3 to 4 nights, I can't remember, to go to New York City. So I already had that kind of plan. I'm like, oh, this is just one night. It'll be fine. It's less than 24 hours. There was still the slight little bit of worry because when I was in New York City, you were still with her, Corey, and now she had neither of us. But she is a very good sleeper, and we had talked to her about it a couple days before, like, you're going to go stay with Grandma and Grandpa, you're going to spend the night, you're going to sleep there. And then when we went over to Corey's parents, he set up the pack and play, and we showed her, like, this is where you're going to sleep, and she's like, yeah, okay. And there was just a little bit of a moment when she didn't feel like she wanted us to go, but then within 30 seconds, she wanted down on the ground and bye. I'm like, okay, have fun, So we knew that she would do good. I would just hope that she went down okay at night. We knew that once she was asleep, she should sleep well, but just getting her asleep is kind of the tricky part.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it a bit more later, but there was the same bedtime routine struggles that the grandparents dealt with that we've been dealing with on the nightly basis. So it was good. She slept all through the night. She had a good breakfast this morning. She is a trooper. She's a great kid so far. Sleep has not been an issue with us. Like we've said many times, it still continues to be that great level. So that's good.
But we brought our own pack and play this time. Your parents have one, but she is outgrowing that one, and our pack and play is just a little bit bigger. I mean, she's outgrowing that one too, but we just thought for the longer stretch of night sleep to have her sleep in our pack and play. So Corey, you set that up, and then we decided to we brought our typical things, the sleep sack, the hatch lights and sounds. She had her pacifier, her little loveys. She had all those things. And we did just go ahead and decide to bring the Nanit monitor.
Yeah, I decided that we needed to bring that because I wasn't really worried, but I thought maybe you would want to look at her when she's sleeping before we go to bed. I know both of us, when we spend a night away, generally before we go to bed, you look to see her sleeping, and it's just a little comforting thing knowing that she's good, she's sleeping, not having any issues. That was really the only time we checked it.
Oh yeah, just to see if she was sleeping good before we went to bed. That was it.
Yeah, just put your mind at ease just a little bit. So we decided to put that up. It was really simple to set up. I just had to connect it to the Wi-Fi, and we could view it anywhere.
We do have some brainstorming to do. That as more sleepovers happen, in the future, she is outgrowing the pack and play, but we have a knockoff Nugget downstairs, and that smaller foam pad, I even looked it up on that website of the brand and said it could be used for napping and sleeping. And I think I could put a crib sheet over that, and that would be a nice transition for her because she's not going to be able to sleep in a pack and play much longer. And, we could always get her like the toddler air mattresses or something like that too. But that's something kind of we're thinking in our mind of what to do next. And as we take a vacation this summer, what's that going to look like? So we're going to test some things out, brainstorm, and figure out a new toddler sleep setup for her.
Another thing that we had discussed, my parents was asking as well, was they're like, hey, what do you normally keep your house temperature at? And I'm like, okay, what do you keep yours at? They're like, oh, we keep it at 65. I'm like, that's too cold. Things that we found in our house where Carly sleeps is anytime it gets to be about that 66 degrees, she does have a little trouble waking up early because she's cold, let alone filling her diaper and everything else. We've talked about this in previous episodes, I think. It took us a while to figure that out, but we finally found that sweet spot because I'm a hot sleeper. Jordan's always cold. I would prefer the room to be cold. I think both of us would kind of prefer it to be cold, but we have our sensor in Carly's room. So the thermostat adjusts her to her room temperature, not to ours. So sometimes we got to throw blankets off because it gets hot. Sometimes it's a little cold.
Well, and Carly's room is in the corner. It's a corner bedroom, 2 outside walls, 2 windows. So it is typically colder than, say, our room is.
Out of all the thermostats we have in our house, the Nest keeps telling me that it is the coldest room. It's the coldest sensor so far. So anyway, they had to bump theirs up because they were a little bit lower. We do have a higher TOG rating, but its rating on her sleep sack is only about, I think 68 degrees is all the lower it's supposed to get to. And where we'd start running into that is I would set our thermostat at 67. And on these colder nights like we've been having this week, she would get a little colder because it hit that 66 mark and maybe stay there for a half an hour before it kicks in because it's not low enough. The temperature isn't. And she'd get cold and then she'd wake up. So that's where on these colder nights, I'd bump ours up to 68. That way it'd stay at 68, then it'd go back to 67 until it gets low enough and then it'll kick in, go back to 68. That way we don't ever have that 66 problem. It seems like it's not a big deal with 2 to 3 degrees change, but it is with her. It really is.
It is. And we could buy the 2.5 TOG rating, but I feel like the 1.0 TOG, we use it all year long, and that 2.5 one we'd only be using for maybe 2 months, maybe. So it doesn't make sense to buy that versus just adjusting our thermostat accordingly.
Yep. And we also did pack heavier pajamas, a little bit thicker pajamas for her. So just knowing if it did get colder in that room, the way that the parents' house is, the wind was blowing. It's been blowing, seems like for the last 3 or 4 days, really hard. And it's been pretty darn cold. It's going to hit that window in the room that she slept in. So we were both kind of concerned how cold it would be. And that's where we're like, you know what, we're going to throw the heavier jammies on. We'd rather be just a little bit hot than be cold. So I think with our strategy and their strategy, it definitely evened out. And she slept all night. So we must have hit a home run on that one.
Yeah. And, now that she's older, she can regulate her temperature a little bit better than what she could do when she was a newborn. But, you always want them to be a little too cold versus too hot. So I'm like, yeah, she might be a little bit cold. We'll adjust it. But I would rather the cold be the issue than the hotness. I don't want her to get too hot and get overheated. So,
yeah, I think younger, we went more cold. Now, I think we go a little bit more hot than cold. Just it's kind of changed. She's more body regulated, stuff like that. But when she was a lot younger and couldn't regulate her body, yeah, we shied on the cold side of it a little bit. And my mom ended up waking up. She told us at like 3 a.m. and checked her little cheeks to see if they were cold or not. She said she was all good. So, hey, it was great.
That's definitely not something that was on my list of things to think about when you become a parent, is room temperature, sleep temperature, any of that stuff.
So, Jordan, we got a birthday coming up.
I know.
And it's going to be a big one.
I know. She's going to be 2. It doesn't seem like it at all.
No, it seems like we just got done having her first birthday about 6 months ago.
Oh my goodness, the time is flying. So, but yeah, she's not even 2 yet. And I feel like for the last month, ever since probably a little before Christmas, we're reaching that 2-year mark with the attitude, with the emotions, with the meltdowns, all the things. And everyone I talk to at work's like, oh, it's only going to get worse. I hate to say it, but it's only going to get worse. And I'm like, I know, it's just, we're preparing ourselves for it. But yeah, she's definitely getting that switch of getting a little older, definitely a toddler now. Two-nado coming for us.
It is. We have a two-nado warning out right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is within vicinity, and we are supposed to get in the basement and hunker down. So Carly's most recent meltdown was actually with Jordan at a store. And how did that go down, Jordan? What was her big dilemma?
Yeah, the meltdown of the week this week was at the grocery store. And it was just our small local grocery store in town, not a Walmart, Target, anything real big. And we were just going in for 1 or 2 things. I think whatever we needed that I forgot to make supper. So we were going in and I didn't get a cart. She wanted to walk and I let her walk for a little bit and then try to steer her. Oh, let's go down this aisle. Okay, now we're going down this aisle. And we were getting ready to leave and we go through the produce. And I like to see if there's any fruit on sale or anything like that. So there were grapes and she saw the green grapes. And of course she said, grapes. And she's down and she's trying to reach for them. Like she's going to grab them and eat them. And I'm like, no, Carly, you don't need grapes. We have grapes at home. We'll eat some at home tonight after supper. And she was not happy about that with that answer, grapes and reaching for the grapes. And I told her like, it's okay. We'll get them at home. So I have to pick her up because she's reaching for them. And, she definitely doesn't like getting picked up when she's got her freedom on the ground. So I pick her up and then she started screaming. And Corey was on the phone with me and he for sure heard the scream that she was melting down over. And, then of course here comes a guy with pushing a cart and he gives me that look of just like, I've been there. I know, it's not a judgy look at all, but just like, I feel for you.
Well, and there's so many, what I always find funny is there's so many songs. It's like, take me back there. I want to experience that. Mm-hmm. I actually miss that. But when you're living in the moment, you're like, can't you just listen to me?
Yeah, exactly. And you see those things everywhere. Like you said, the songs and the reels, it's like, you're going to want this back. You're going to miss this. And I'm like, yes, I know I will, but it's hard thinking about that in the moment because, thankfully the store wasn't too busy. There wasn't a lot of people there, but I didn't feel judged. But I was getting that like embarrassment of like, oh my gosh, my toddler's screaming. And then I'm like walking away from the grapes and then she hits me. And so then I have to tell her, no, you do not hit mama. And thankfully we got what we needed and we had gotten out of there fairly quickly. It wasn't a super long ordeal. I feel for the people that I have silently judged in public places before because I am now there.
I will be the first to admit I was a judger back in the day. Not having much experience with little kids, those types of things. There'd be a little kid that'd throw a tantrum and it's like, gosh, I just take them in the car and beat their butt and get them squared away. Like they just need disciplined. I never thought of there is age appropriate reactions and those types of things. I didn't know anything about it. And this is younger Corey. I did shame some parents like, man, I just get that kid out of here. Like, how can you not control them? And sometimes they need a nap. Sometimes they didn't get a nap. I mean, there is so many scenarios in the parent world of why. Now, sometimes there is kids that do act worse than others. I get that too. But yes, I was very judgmental. So all you people out there that are listening that maybe don't have a kid yet and you judge them, just know there's probably a story in the background of why they're acting that way. And yes, the parents are definitely embarrassed. They're wanting to get out of there as fast as they can. They don't want you looking at them. They don't want to interrupt anybody's day. Just keep that in mind. That is one thing I have changed my tune on over the past probably more than few years, but I was one of those thinkers.
Yeah. And now that I'm like living it, I look at the mom or dad that's by themselves in the store with 3 kids. And I'm like, you know what? Power to you. Like, look at you go. Like, I'm proud of you that you're taking them. You never know what's going to happen in a store with multiple kids. And even if it's 2 parents, like, you never know what that child's going to do. And to be able to just go there and like, no, we're going to go do our shopping. We're going out. I definitely do a lot of Walmart pickup orders, and it's not because I don't want to take Carly into the store. It's simply the fact that I can get in and out of there with my groceries. I can get home. I can get started making supper, doing whatever I need to do. But Carly still goes out. Like, one of our parents as teacher educators had asked me one time, like, does she go to restaurants? Does she go to the store often? And I told her, I said, she loves to go to Dollar General and run up and down the toy aisle and look at things. And we do take her out to the restaurants. So I'm looking now as she's starting to have some of those public meltdowns that it's still really good to take her to places. I'm not going to not take her to places because she might have a meltdown. It's to be expected. I think if you change your mindset and be like, well, she's probably going to have a meltdown, but it's going to be okay. And we're going to get through it. It's important to take them to those public places. It's important to teach them all those social skills that happen in the public setting is important. So don't think that they had one meltdown. I'm not going there again. Oh, Carly and I will be back to that store. We'll be back to any other place, but just keep doing it because it is good for them. And like you said, Corey, if there's people that are judging you, like, just don't even think about it. Most of them have been there and they understand. And the people that are judging are the ones that haven't been through it yet. So don't get deflated.
So earlier we talked about Carly having some meltdowns, kind of in the store and stuff. There is some strategies to help combat that. Jordan and I, we keep arguing on the name of this strategy. I call it bribery.
I call it the first then strategy. And that's just the special educator in me. You would mean it like, hey, if you do this, I'll give you this. There's also another name for it in the education world called positive reinforcement. So we don't do bribery around here. We do positive reinforcement. But no, it's something that I learned at school, obviously, and teaching students in general, like especially those with social emotional behaviors issues. But if Carly, right now, she really likes listening to songs on our Google hub or whatever it is. She loves it. She could do that forever. Like, it's to the point where we have to tell her, all right, Carly, one more song and then you're done. And then we got to pull the plug and deal with the screaming and the fit because she just loves it so much. So that is definitely highly motivating for her. What she doesn't like to do is get her diaper changed. So I use that motivator for sure against her. I'm like, hey, first I'll tell her, I'm like, you need to get your diaper changed. And, she doesn't care. She could walk around in poopy pants all day if it was up to her. But getting her like, you need to change your pants. And so I'll say, hey, do you want to listen to a song? And I don't do this all the time. Don't get me wrong. I am not all about this all the time. I do it when I can. But I'm like, hey, do you want to listen to a song? Yeah. I said, okay, well, you have to get your pants changed. And, she's not about it. But I said, first you change your pants, then you can listen to a song. And she doesn't get it the first time. She's not even 2. Like, she doesn't get it the first time. I have to say it multiple times as I'm changing her pants too, as I'm laying her down. First, we change her pants and then you can listen to a song. I feel like it's maybe sticking a little bit because then we'll ask her like, hey, did you get your pants changed? Yeah. What do you get to do now? And then she'll say it. So, I mean, it's not something that we use all the time. We're not perfect, but we try to on the things that we know that she's going to not like to do.
And with that strategy, sometimes you got to wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll say it 2 or 3 times and then she'll go run around the couch and be like, oh, you're going to go get me. And then all of a sudden she's like, okay, this ain't any fun anymore. They ain't paying no attention. So then she comes back over and is like, all right, change my butt. Hurry up.
Mm-hmm.
She still fusses at it, but there's times where sometimes she's got to pause, let her think about it a little bit more. And all of a sudden it just hits. Okay, fine. I'll get it done. It's okay. Nothing's going to get better until I do whatever they want me to do.
And, sometimes like waiting it out is a great strategy. I try to use it at school as much as I can, but I know that there are times where you cannot wait it out. Like, you're just not emotionally, like, mentally able to wait it out, or like you're in a rush somewhere. I get it. But one time, I think it was over a break, I didn't have anything to wait on and she needed to come in from the kitchen and lay down and change her pants. I showed her the diaper. I told her, and I sat there and I waited, and she was smiling at me and she was running around. And I said, you need to come here and you need to change your pants. And I just waited. And I mean, it wasn't too long, maybe 2 minutes, maybe. And she came and she laid down, and then I definitely praised her. I said, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming here, and let's change your pants really quick and then we'll go play. She's definitely fighting us more on things like diaper changes, changing clothes, putting pajamas on, brushing teeth, all the things. And I know those things are nighttime things because she knows if I have my pajamas on, if I get my diaper changed, if I brush my teeth, if I get my sleep sack on, I got to go to bed, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to fight it.
Yeah, and it's been a consistent struggle. Dad has been in charge of toothbrushing. So we brush our teeth. That is the last step before we go to bed, and we get the passy, which we also use as a bribery.
I know, and we're going to have to figure something else with that because we got to start pulling that.
I know. It's been a really good crutch, and it's worked out really well, but we are to the point we're kind of abusing it because we gotta figure out something different that she likes somehow, some way. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet, but we're starting to brainstorm some stuff. We realize it. We just haven't taken much action on it yet. It's all right. We're kind of waiting until the birthday happens, and we've slowly started. We don't do passy in the vehicles
in the
anymore.
Car. The only time that she would get it in the car is if we were leaving someplace and it was nap time and we wanted her to sleep. That's the only time she gets in the car now. And she used to have it in every car trip. So this is huge for us. Like, it's still a win. She doesn't have it in the car anymore.
Yep. It's going to consist of many battles to win that war. That's just the way you got to look at it. So we've won that battle already. Mm-hmm. We just got to go.
Mom and Dad won, Carly 0.
She ain't going to get a tally to her name. So we will come in and defeat her. We just got to go set up where's the next battle at. But anyway, one mistake that we've made while we're brushing teeth, getting back to that, is we got her a new toothbrush. I think, we got it in her stocking along with some new toothpaste. And so we've had 2 toothbrushes in there it worked for maybe a night or two. We're like, hey, pick which one you want. You want green or yellow? And she would pick, and she'd like to hold on to the other one, and away we'd go. Now it's just a constant battle. I'm like, which one do you want? I want green. I want yellow. They're mine. They're mine.
Yeah, that's what
And
he's saying.
I can't have one because she thinks she needs both. The other night, we finally threw the old one away. I don't know why we kept it in there a whole lot. This is the advice to you guys. Don't have two toothbrushes because it's going to lead to more complications than what it's worth. That battle is going to be twice as bad. The second part of this battle, not only picking stuff and trying to get the toothbrush to brush her teeth, she's now trying to become more independent, and she wants to brush her teeth herself. The con to that is she's not very good at brushing teeth yet. The pro is she wants to brush her teeth. She just can't. She ain't got the wrist rotation down. She pays no attention to where the bristles are. Half the time she's brushing her gums or her inner lips. She just does not have the right angle on it. Like it's perpendicular to her teeth. And it's like, oh my goodness, Carly girl. And if you try to help her, no, I do it. And it's like, okay, so you kind of got to coax her, and we're working on that. But my advice, do not stick two toothbrushes in there for her or him, because it's going to be a battle. So just throw the old one away, get the new one out, and make your life a little bit simpler.
And we've been better after coming back from break about trying to be more consistent with our bedtime, but we still have a little bit of work to do. A lot of times we're just hanging out in the basement, honestly. And we look at the time, we're like, oh my gosh, like we got to get moving. And then I feel like the bedtime routine is rushed, and Carly doesn't like that. I feel like we need to be better at once a certain time hits. We need to start with the first step of just getting pajamas on. And we know she doesn't like doing it, but I've told her before, like, hey, we don't have to go to bed right now. We're just getting our jammies on. And then that way, that's one little reminder in her little brain of like, okay, bedtime is coming, and then we can put the sleep sack on and read some books. Okay, there's another little reminder, like it's getting closer. I think that might help. But like we talked about earlier, what kid is ever wanting to go to bed unless they just completely crash? She's not going to want to go to bed. I don't blame her. She's having too much fun. She doesn't have time for sleep. It's something that I think that we could help that situation a little bit more if we were a little bit more consistent and getting things done earlier versus trying to rush it at the end.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't realize, just a short deal, is studies show when you put your kid to bed later, you would think they'd wake up later, right? They went to bed late, they're going to wake up late. It's the exact opposite. And Carly is going through that right now. If we do not get her to bed around that 9 time frame, and we get her closer to 9:30, heaven forbid it's almost closer to 10, she wakes up about an hour earlier. Because she'll normally wake up about 6:30-ish to 7, probably, somewhere in that time frame. She usually goes to bed about 9 o'clock. So if we get her into bed and she goes to sleep at 9:45, guess what? She's up at 6. So it makes no sense to me. Carly does have a pretty good circadian rhythm. She kind of takes after her dad. She wakes up same time. So that is really nice. We use that to our advantage as well. But the last few nights we've gotten her to bed just a little bit late, she is up that much earlier in the morning. And it's not like it's a bad deal, but she is not quite getting her full stretch of sleep that we want her to get. So then she has a really long nap at daycare and some things like that. I mean, she gets it back.
She does. But like even today, we knew that she went to bed a little bit later last night. It's fine. She's in a different place. I just wanted her to go to sleep for him, eat good. So if it was a little later, that's okay. She went to bed a little bit later. She woke up a little bit earlier. And then right around lunchtime, she was kind of crabby. She was cranky. And I asked her, I said, are you tired? Yeah. I said, yeah, you're tired. So we got to nap time a little bit early. Hopefully let her have a really good nap, catch up a little bit, get to bed at a decent time tonight and make up for it.
To sum up, parenting, it's always a work in progress, right? It's a war, like we discussed earlier. Definitely know how to pick your battles. You may win some, maybe you lose some, but go back at it. You'll get to it. But you need to have some flexibility in finding that right routine. And there's also little gold nuggets in those routines that you're going to find that's going to make your life easier. Or, hey, I need to stay away from that too. There's going to be some warning signs along the way.
Like, I know you mentioned pick your battles, but find the things that you are needing to be firm on and be firm on that. Like when it comes to Carly's safety, like she likes to climb on chairs now. We need to be more firm on that. And I don't want to be they can't see that. I don't want to be a super crazy, strict, mean parent, but I also want my child to listen to me. So as she's getting that 2 mark, we're trying to figure out how to still, she needs to mind and she needs to listen, but then where do we pick those battles? So you'll be with us as we learn and go.
Yeah, and definitely use the Jordan's first then strategy, or AKA bribery.
Whatever.
Find some of those motivators. Every kid's got a motivator. Exploit it and just use it. We have done the passy for quite some time. Now we're going to have to go find something else to motivate her. She's got plenty of them. We just got to do a little brainstorming. We might have to, it might be 2 or 3 different motivators to replace that one motivator, but we'll get it done.
You know, as we're talking, I'm thinking something we could try because we're always trying something new. She really likes listening to books. Pick out your book. Let's go brush your teeth. After you brush your teeth, we can read your book. I mean, we usually do books before brushing our teeth, but we could do it afterwards.
We're going to have to try something.
Yep.
And that's the thing. You keep trying. You'll find a spot. Then you're like, man, why didn't we think about that about a month ago? Or why didn't we think of that the other day? Gosh, we're dumb. Happens all the time parenting people. So it's just the way it is. Anyway, appreciate everybody listening. Hopefully your 2026 is kicking off from a good year, and thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you for listening to Parenting in Progress. If you like what you heard and you're listening to us on YouTube, please go ahead, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. If you're listening to us on other platforms, go ahead, give us a follow and a rating. We truly appreciate it. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.